Hello students, welcome to Ekam IAS Academy. Today we will discuss a very important or international organization by the name Financial Action Task Force, because it is in news because tomorrow, that is June 14th, the Financial Action Task Force is going to meet. One of the committees of the Financial Action Task Force is going to meet, taking a decision regarding the blacklist countries. So we will go ahead with our lecture. See, we will have to, in this lecture, we will try to understand when was FATF formed, the Financial Action Task Force formed, what is the structure of the Financial Action Task Force, and what is the, most importantly, what is the aim and objective of the Financial Action Task Force, and what is the 40+9 recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force, which it is very famous for. We will try to understand that. And we will also see when India joined the Financial Action Task Force, and we will also see the difference between what is a grey list, what is a blacklist, we will see, and we will also see why our neighboring country Pakistan is in the grey list, and we will see what happens when a country continues to stay in the grey list for a long period of time. Okay. Without wasting time, we will go further, but before we go further, a very small announcement from the Ekam IAS Academy. On the 22nd of June 2022, a new GS Prelims cum Mains Foundation batch is starting. So anybody who are aspiring to write the UPSC in 2023 or 2024 can join this long-term program. Okay. Now, going further, the aim and objective of the FATF. See, if you all are aware, this statement, capital as such is not evil, it is the wrong use that is evil. Mahatma Gandhi had told this, had given this statement wherein he wanted to say that we generally blame the money that is evil, but it is actually the intent behind the person who is using that money is evil, and not the money itself that is evil. So with this intention, in the year 1989, the G7 countries, when they meet, the OECD economic, the G7 countries, when they met as part of the OECD summit, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, when they met for their economic summit in 1989, the G7 countries formed what we know today as the Financial Action Task Force. The intention was to create a policy making body against the money laundering activities. What was the intention? To create a policy making body against the money laundering events. So very important to understand that FATF is nothing but a policy making body. And what is this policy making? The policy making is against the money laundering. As we all know, what is money laundering? Money laundering is nothing but the act of hiding the source of money, or the activity through which that money has been made. Whenever we talk about hiding the source or the act, this particular act in the legal parlance is known as a predicate offense. See, this was the time frame, the 80s and the early 90s. This was the time when the world was seeing the initial phases of globalization. When the world was seeing the initial phases of globalization, with the positives of globalization, we got some negatives also. And this negative was the money was getting laundered across continents. So this is when the G7 countries decided to establish a policy making body on controlling the money laundering activities across the globe. This was in this dimension in the year 1990. 1 year after its formation, the FATF gave 40 recommendations on money laundering. We need not know what are these 40 recommendations, but just know that in 1990 when the FATF was formed, it gave 40 recommendations on money laundering. So initially FATF was primarily an anti-money laundering policy making body. However, in the year 2001, after the attack on the Twin Towers, or the September 11 attack of 2001, the same FATF body gave 9 recommendations on countering financing of terrorism. We call it CFT, countering the financing of terrorism. So the 40 plus 9 recommendations of FAT are world famous. The 40 plus 9 recommendations of FAT are world famous. See, as I told you, founded in the year 1989 at the OECD summit, and 2001 the decision related to the policies related to countering the financing of terrorism was also given. As of 2022, the FATF has 39 member jurisdictions, and India is also a member country of FATF. And most importantly, you see that the European Union and also the Gulf Cooperation Council are the 2 regional organizations which are members of FATF. So the membership of FATF is 39 member jurisdictions and 2 regional organizations, right? And every year the FATF releases 2 lists. The 2 lists are called grey list and the blacklist. Grey list and the blacklist. We will discuss about this when we go further. Grey list and the blacklist. The structure of the FATF is such that on top the decision making body of the FATF is called the FATF plenary, Plenary. This FATF plenary meets thrice a year. This FATF plenary meets thrice a year. Its meetings are attended by, you will be astonished to know, around 206 countries of the global network, including organizations like the World Bank and also the United Nations representatives attend the plenary sessions of the FATF. Very, very important. And it regularly conducts, the FATF regularly conducts the peer reviewed evaluations called mutual evaluations. The countries carry out mutual evaluations of the countries whether the 40 and the 9 recommendations given by the FATF to counter the growing activities of money laundering and also the terror financing are being implemented or not under a mechanism called mutual evaluation, right? So this is one of the important, the reviews are carried out by whom? The FATF and the FATF style regional bodies, which then release the mutual evaluation report. The mutual evaluation of the countries in the grey list is being held from June 14th to 17th. June 14th to 17th. That is the reason why FATF is in news. Very important. The list issued, as I said, there are 2 lists which the FATF issues. One list is called the grey list. These are the countries that are designated as jurisdictions under increased monitoring. The countries that are listed under the grey list are called as jurisdictions under increased monitoring. As on today, there are 23 countries in the grey list, including our neighboring country Pakistan. And the another list that the FATF release is called the blacklist. They are designated as high risk jurisdictions subject to call for action. Very, very important, subject to call for action. It means that if a country is listed as blacklist, the countries across the globe are free to initiate sanctions against them. Are free to initiate sanctions against them. That is what is called call for action. There is no call for action here. It is basically increased monitoring, but when it comes to blacklist, it also invites call for action, which may be sanctions also. As of now, Iran and North Korea are the two countries which continue to be in the blacklist of FATF. Now we'll try to understand what happens. We'll try to understand what happens when a country is kept under the grey list or the blacklist. What will happen? See, the moment a country is within the grey list, it means that there is a high probability that whatever money is in that country, it is being used either for money laundering activities or for financing of terrorism. So that is the reason why the country is kept under the grey list. The moment this happens, it becomes extremely difficult for that country to raise funds from abroad. So now if you see the condition of Pakistan, whose economy is very fragile at this situation, because Pakistan continues to be under the grey list, the IMF, the International Lending Organization, is hesitating to give money to Pakistan. So in this scenario, the cost of raising funds drastically increases. That will again have a negative impact on the economic landscape of that particular country. So these are the two important dimensions that one need to understand the effect of the having a country on the grey list. Now we will understand why Pakistan is struggling with FATF. The biggest reason is that Pakistan is unable to control the money laundering in its country. One is money laundering and also the financing of terrorism. In both these dimensions, Pakistan is struggling to control this in its country. The biggest thing, it has the failure to adequately investigate, prosecute and UN designated terror groups such as Jaish-e-Mohammed and its chief Masood Azhar and the Afghanistan Taliban. This is the reason why the FATF is saying, because Pakistan as a country has failed to bring to the books. Bringing to the books means bringing under the court of law certain UN designated, United Nations designated terrorists and the head of those terrorist organization. So it says that Pakistan may not be able to get more financial aid from international organizations such as IMF and World Bank. So what Pakistan needs to do? It needs to complete the one pending item, taking steps against terrorist or terror outfits out of the 27 listed old action plans. So when the mutual assessment report was generated for the country like Pakistan, in that it was ordered to take action on 27 points. But in this, one of the most important point was taking action against the terror organizations operating in Pakistan. Now what next? FATF may consider removing Pakistan of the list only after conducting 2 on-site inspections after both the action plans are completed. But because not much action has happened on ground, that is the reason why the critics believe that Pakistan may continue to be on the grey list of FATF, that may further cripple the very fragile economic condition of Pakistan. So this is all about the FATF, an international body that is primarily to give recommendations on some policy guidelines that a country needs to embrace, both from the dimension of money laundering and combating of terrorism. Thank you very much.